Okay, we are recording. Welcome, welcome everybody. We're so happy for you to join us on this lovely Tuesday evening. And I'm here with Adina, and we wanted to host an event for tonight, and we thought this was just a great topic to talk about. And without further ado, Adina's gonna share screen.
Okay, here we go.
Hope everyone's doing well at home or wherever you are out and about. And we thought it'd be a great idea to start off our talk tonight. We entitled it Taking Charge of Our Health During Quarantine and Beyond, because we thought this was just like a good topic. We're all going through so much right now, you know, the different levels, different stages, or, you know, what have you, so to speak. But, you know, I don't know how many people, there's so much stuff going on in the world, but maybe people aren't really talking about health as much, talking about everything else that's going on out there, right? So, so we thought this was a great opportunity to start out with our, we call this our trilogy wheel. I think it was the slide right after that. And everyone could do like start out with a little exercise if you have like a little piece of paper or, you know, what have you. So you can kind of like take an assessment, take a step back and take a deep breath and say, wow, where am I right now? Like, what am I doing, right? So on a scale of, you know, 1 to 10 in each of these areas. Now we talk about a healthy body and healthy mind and healthy finances. Now, why would you think we have all three of these and not just one or the other? So with the connection with a healthy mind and a healthy body and healthy finances is that if you have a healthy body, but you don't have a healthy mind, it's not really congruent. And if you don't have healthy finances, but you have a healthy body, you might be stressing out. So they're all interrelated and they're kind of like a three-legged stool. And if you don't have one or one is a little bit shaky, then the rest of it is kind of going to tip over, or it's not going to be so firm, so to speak. So let's say start out with, I think a great way to start out is a healthy mind, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, being 1 the lowest and 10 at the highest, how would you rate yourself? And again, you could do this to yourself and you could take a picture of this, or we could send you a little copy of it. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on healthy mind? Do you have time for fun? Do you have any hobbies? I know this morning I just like got some cuttings from a neighbor. I'm gonna do some gardening, which I never hardly do. Are you involved in the community, active causes? Do you have time for spiritual time? You know, are you meditating? You know, whatever form that you utilize. And so write down on a scale of 1 to 10 where you're at right now. Then maybe next to it, if let's say, you know, it's like at a, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 3 or 4, whatever, right next to it, you can write like, wow, what actions or what steps do I need to take to get to a 10? Assuming you want to be at a 10, right? So that's kind of like what we're at. And then let's go from the healthy mind to a healthy body. And again, going from the lowest to the highest, where are we at in terms of a healthy weight? Physical activity, how, you know, are we practicing habits of motion? Are we sitting at the computer all day long, right? Are we, how is our eating habits? You know, how are we working with that? Do we have a chance to relax? Maybe a little bit too much, right? Or maybe we're all just busy working. It depends on who you are. And are you practicing healthy habits of sleep? I mean, so many people are up so late at night right now, or their hours are totally off. And, you know, are you do you have like a good working area at home where you're able to focus, or are you just being distracted all day? And are you able to establish any type of, you know, life order, so to speak? Is everything just kind of crazy, you know, running around, or can you actually like have a set order of the day? And that brings us to healthy finances. Again, this is probably like not such a great question to ask right now because everyone has a different situation, right? Some people are doing fine, they're both working, and some people, one person isn't working and another. But I would say just overall, it's say, are you able to contribute to help others? I know even though, you know, I may not be in the best predicament, but we're still trying to help other people, like helping out with people's food bills, what have you. I'm not judging anybody. My husband did it. I was like, what, are you crazy? He goes, no, we still have to help people. Do you have resources to help? Like, are you asking people for help for the financial resources? Are you able to take advantage of maybe what's going out there with the unemployment insurance, right? There's like things that could help us that we may not, you know, be aware of. And are we able to, like, you know, live abundantly? Are we able to or have an abundant mindset even, right? That could work both ways with the healthy mindset. And we're able, can we save a little bit more, for afterwards? So this is something you can kind of keep to yourself, or if you want to like talk to us about that afterwards, we could talk about the scores and work with you on that. That would be great. Okay, so we have our next slide. So everyone knows, I don't even have to say this, we're living in crazy times, right? It's like a little bit nuts. I mean, it's unprecedented. I can't even say that, my great grandmother, this is like not even anything I can't even share with my kids. Everyone's schedule is, out to lunch. My daughter has come home from college and she's up half the night, she's out now, whatever. And sometimes we wake up late, sometimes we wake up on time, but do you have a set schedule? Maybe not, right? Are you eating just because the food is there, is the pantry's there, the refrigerator? It's like we're home most of the day, right? And are we, when we do eat, are we eating those comfort foods that maybe, makes us feel good inside, or maybe our grandma used to make us stuff, or our mom, and, are we faced with a lot of extra stress, even with the more recent situation that's been going on? And, how are we dealing with, like, we can't just go to stores whenever we want, except for the food stores. And even then, you might have someone elderly in your house, or you might be considered high risk and you just can't go places when you want. So, this is something like we're constantly faced with all these distractions and obstacles. So, it's not such an easy time. And, we have to say, whatever, how we can deal with it, right? Okay, we can go to the next slide. That'd be great. And so while we're home and while we're stuck in the house, so to speak, are we stuck in like maybe we had great habits before this happened? Maybe I went to the gym all the time and now all of a sudden, oh gosh, there's no gym. What am I supposed to do now? So like, I'm just going to like veg out on the couch. So are we letting old habits, even just, it doesn't have to be eating habits, just negative habits, are we letting them creep back? There's a lot of strife going on in households right now. Are we trying to make the best of this, or are we just, really reacting negatively? Are we adopting like a mindset, or are we doing a mindset reset? Because a mindset is kind of like a set mind, like, well, this is the way it has to be, and da da da, or are we actually taking a reset of our mindset and saying like, oh, well, I guess I have to be flexible. I have to adapt. We're in a different element right now. So like, what are we doing about it? And are we taking action steps to, quote, like pivot and adapt to this the times that we're in? Like they say, it'll never be the same after this, right? It's not the same now, and we have to get used to a new normal, right? Whatever that is. Okay. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, there's what we say this all along, that we have very little control of what's going on in the outside world, right? There's this going on there, and people go back to work, or this store is closed, or they're out of alcohol and flour in the store. I mean, it's like, and we need it. What are we supposed to do without it, right? So we just don't have control of everything that's going on in the world. But, we do have control of things about that concern ourselves, our bodies, right? We can control our sleep routine, even if we don't think we can, right? How you speak, how your attitude, how you talk to other people, how you talk to your spouse, how you relate to the rest of your family. Who are you following? Like, who are you talking to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? It could be Zooms, right? It could be, friends from a long time ago, and we're all like kind of like hashing it out, like, oh, I can't believe it, and woe is me. And, are you setting certain boundaries? Like, okay, I'm not going to sleep past, a certain time of day. I just like, okay, it's time. Like, I have to do something. Are you actually holding by that? And you actually, even though we think originally, maybe back in the beginning, we're just eating whatever there is, you actually can actually control what you're eating. It's not so easy. It takes practice, and we might have to work with people to help us, but we actually can control that. It's not, like I said, it's not an easy thing. And when you need something, are you actually like reaching out to people and asking for help? Or you can say, oh, I could take care of this. I don't need help from anybody else, because people are out there, we're all going through this together, and we can help each other out, right? Okay, next slide, please. And, we always say to ourselves, whenever we're in an event, in a situation, maybe you're going through a holiday, whatever, we can look at the way the things are right now, but what's it going to be like when this is all over, right? do you want to come out like, just kind of like, oh, I was a victim of whatever this happened, and like, what was me, and or do you want to come out of this like on top of your game? Like, do you want to, you could come out of this being the best version of yourself, right? Because you had time to work on yourself, right? So really just kind of like, this is a good question. Like, if you want to like take a picture of this and write it down, what do you want when this is all over? What do you want your life to be like? Okay. And I think I'm going to pass it on to Adina to tell you more.
Hi. Okay, so Shari was just speaking a little bit about the mindset that we want to have when we're, dealing with this challenging situation, these challenging times. And I'd like to get a little into the skill set, which is what action steps are we going to do? Okay, so we already know, okay, that we can control things. We know where we want to be when this quarantine ends. We know where we currently are, but what do we do about it? So we're going to talk about the strategies and steps to help you move forward to reach your goals. Okay, so first, we're going to start with some questions. And the question is, first of all, before you even start anything, you have to know why you want it, whatever goal it is that you do want. It might be a goal for losing weight. It might be a goal for getting better sleep, getting more exercise. Any health goal that you want, you're not going to get there unless you sort of have your motivation in mind of why I want to do this. Because if you're not clear on that, you're not going to keep on moving forward. So you need to find, like, dig deep. Don't just say like, oh, I'd like to look better. Like, really, what areas do you want to look better in? How does it, is it because you don't want, right now, I remember that I didn't want to be in pictures and I would duck out of pictures. And it occurred to me that there was not a single picture, like if God forbid anything happened to me, my kids wouldn't have a picture of me. There wasn't a single picture that they would have of me. And I realized that I couldn't even bring myself still to get in front of the camera because I was, so embarrassed to have how I looked be, filmed for posterity. So that was like a why that made me cry, the why that makes you cry. You really have to dig deep and find, not just I want to look better. I want to be there so, I could be in a picture with my kids, something that's really going to be meaningful to you. And then we have this question. So first of all, our goal right now, things are crazy and things are not going to be perfect, but our goal is going to be to have more optimal days more often. So what can we do to work toward those goals of having more optimal days more often? What steps can we take to do that? And what are we prepared to do to create the new you within the next few weeks? So we're really going to look at what action steps we are willing and able to take and how to take them. Okay, so the first step with everything before you begin is that you have to know how to set a goal. Okay, you have to know what your goal is. And the way to set a goal is first to see where am I right now. And Shari was actually doing a little bit of that with you in the beginning, where she was showing you that trilogy wheel, that wheel with the healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances. That's one way of looking at where am I right now in my health? Where am I right now in my healthy mind, my mindset? Where am I in my financial health? Where am I? You can do that with any area. So you could pick a goal that you want. Could be, I want to exercise more. Okay, where am I right now? Right now, I cannot walk up I'm 40 pounds overweight and I can't walk up 2 flights of stairs without getting out of breath. That's where I am right now, let's say. And then the next question is, where do I want to be? So we're looking at where I am right now, where I want to be. And so where I want to be is I want to be able to go to the gym and work out 45 minutes and feel good. And I want to be able to run up and down the steps at work, which I have to do for work. And I want to be able to chase my grandkids around and be the kind of grandma that I can, the best grandma I could be, that I don't want to be the grandma sitting there that I could just stick them on my lap and read a story. I want to be the grandma that takes them to Disneyland. I want to be fun grandma, So you need energy for that. So that's where I want to be, where I am now, where I want to be. Now, there may be a very far distance between them. The further the distance, the more the pain, the more the more the pain points, because it's, you're really far away. As you get closer, the pain decreases a little, and then we have to have different strategies. But the further you are away, the more angst we have over it, the more worried we are. Maybe it's not about exercise. Maybe my blood sugar levels are terrible. I'm just about diabetic and my doctor's on my case and he's going to put me on medicine. That's pain. That's where I am now. Where do I want to be? I want to be at a healthy, my blood work be healthy and my doctor not be considering me putting on medicine for the rest of my life. So that's where I am. That's where I want to be. Okay, once we know that, we have to know how will we know if we're getting toward our goal? What markers can we set in the way? Little milestones on the way, maybe even milestones that we could reward ourselves as we go along, because we have our long-term goal. But if it's far away, it's going to be hard to aim for. So we can make shorter term goals along the continuum, maybe even reward ourselves, not with food, hopefully, but maybe with other things. You could have a massage, you could buy yourself a nice little piece of costume jewelry or something to reward ourselves as we move along toward our health goals and along these milestones. And now it comes down to, what steps do I need to do to get there? These are our action steps. What are we have to know what things we can do to get us to where we want to be. And we're going to discuss a little more of that in a second. And then goals need to be what we call SMART. They need to be specific. So it can't sort of be like vague, like, oh, I just want to be healthier. That's going to get no one anywhere. It has to be, I want to lose 30 pounds and be able to do ABC and be able to and my blood sugar levels or my blood pressure is going to be down to normal levels. Or it'll be, I want to be able to get to sleep by 11 o'clock at night, so I get in 7 hours so that I can do ABC in the morning, get up by 6 and be, or whatever, and be, you know, get up by 7 and be functional during my day, or whatever it is. You need to be specific. It needs to be measurable. So it can't just be like, I'd like to lose weight. You need a number. You need a level. You need to say, I want to drink 8 ounces of water, not I want to drink more water, because it has to be very specific to have a goal. It needs to be attainable. So, you know, we have to be realistic. It needs to be something that you're going to be able to get to. But you know what? We could dream a little, but it can't be fantasy. So there's a line, you know, where yes, someone can say, I want to lose 40 pounds in 3.5 months, and that's doable with a proper plan. But they can't say, I want to lose 80 pounds in 3 months. Even the best plan you have in the world is not going to do that. So, I mean, maybe if you're starting off very, very, very high, but normally, you know, that type of thing. So it needs to be attainable, the goal within the time frame. It needs to be relevant to you. We spoke about your why. Why are you doing this? So this goal needs to be relevant to your why in order for it to be meaningful. And it needs to be time-based. You can't say, yeah, I want to lose this and this, and you know, sometime this, you know, over the course of the next few years. It has to be, you have to give yourself a time frame, because that creates an urgency and that moves you forward. You know, I want to lose it by my birthday. I want to do it by this wedding, you know, and that type of thing. Or in 2 months, I want to be, you know, this much down. Or, you know, in 6 months, I want to be able to be at the gym for this and this much time. So that's a little about setting your goals. And now that you have a goal, I need to tell you that a goal without a plan is just a wish. The next step is you need to have a plan on how you're going to implement this goal. So the best plans actually have meet certain criteria, and it meets a combination of criteria. We're going to go into this, but you're going to need to change your habits. You can't just you know, go on a diet and lose weight. That's not a long-term plan, because you'll lose weight, but you'll gain right back. You actually have to change your habits. You can force yourself to get up early in the morning a certain amount of time, but unless it's consistent and you're doing it consistently and it becomes a new habit, you're not going to be able to do it forever, and it'll fall by the wayside. So you're going to have to change your habits. Whatever goal you are going to have, whether it be exercise, whether it be better sleep, whether obviously if it's going to be losing weight or gaining weight, or you know, having better lab work or whatever, you're going to need proper nutrition. you need a support system. And we're going to get back to these in a second. And you're going to need accountability. So in terms of changing habits, I just want to tell you that the way to change a habit is to pick the area that you want to change. Let's call it getting 8 hours of sleep, okay? And then you're going to pick one small thing that you could do to change to work toward that healthy habit. So you're not going to take on too much at once. You're not going to suddenly say, I have to get 8 hours every night, because it won't work if you're used to getting 4, like I was. You have to say, okay, tonight and for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to set my clock 15 to alarm to go off to put as lights out 15 minutes earlier. Or after 2 o'clock, I'm not having anything with caffeine anymore. Or I'm getting room darkening shades, and I'm going to, every night I'm going to draw them. Or I'm shutting off my computer 45 minutes before I want to go to bed, so that my system can calm down. Those blue lights are really bad for your for the nervous system in terms of getting proper sleep. You pick one thing, not all those things. You pick one thing, and then you work at it, and you're consistent at it. Do what you have to do. Set alarms, reminders. We'll talk about accountability. Do what you have to do. But once you make that one small change and you do it consistently, it will become habitual. A habit is something you automatically fall into, and it can supersede and override some of those old habits that you had if you start doing it consistently. Proper nutrition. You need a nutrition plan for whatever you're going to be doing. The best plans actually obviously incorporate proper hydration, proper balanced nutrition, but depending on what your goal is, you're going to want different types of nutrition. If it's a sleep goal, maybe you don't want too much caffeine, maybe you want foods that are not gonna, you don't want to eat too close to bedtime, things like that. If it's an exercise goal, you need the proper nutrients to support whatever type of exercise that you're doing. If it's weight loss, that's a given, or weight gain, or anything like that. So there's different nutrition plans, and that's important to have the proper nutrition. Support system. You don't have to go it alone, okay? It's really important that you surround yourself with like-minded people who have the same goals you do. If you're surrounding yourself with people who are inadvertently, lovingly sabotaging you, it's going to be that much harder. We act most like the people that we surround ourselves by. If your friends are all going out for pizza, you're going out for pizza. But if they're all going for a walk and to go out for a salad, that's what you're doing. So support system is so important. And a support system can be a spouse, a friend. It could be Facebook groups. There's support systems for anything you need. And it could be a coach or a mentor. It's important to have a support system in place. And then the last thing is accountability. We need to be accountable to someone other than ourselves, because when you're just accountable to yourself, it's very easy to self-rationalize. It's very easy to make excuses or to, and I just woke up late and it's too late to. But if you arrange with a friend that you're going to be going walking, early in the morning, and when you really want to just push the snooze button, but that friend's waiting, you're accountable to her, you're going to more likely, hopefully, you are more likely to get up and do what you need to do.
If you're on a health, that is so true. I just have to say that because I have a friend that we count on each other, and the mornings when it's like I just don't feel like going, and when we expect each other, it definitely is true for sure. Sorry, just had to say that.
No problem. Oops, wait, I went too far. Okay. So it's important, if you are on a diet plan, you can have accountability. Some people have accountability on social media. They actually put it out there that they're doing this, and they bring a whole world of hundreds of people that they're accountable to, because they reporting on how they're doing and everything like that. So it becomes much less likely to fudge and cheat when there's accountability to a doctor who's going to be checking your blood work, coaches, friends, social media. There's a lot of ways to have accountability. So those last two, support system and accountability, are very important also. Okay. So you have your goals. you have your plan. You chose which habit you're going to work on, and you have a plan of action to do it. You're setting up, you're picking one small thing that you're going to work toward. And by the way, it doesn't stop there. Once that one small thing becomes a habit, now you're doing better, but you're not at your goal. So now you want to change another small thing. Maybe go to sleep a little earlier. Maybe take, push yourself a little more with the exercise. Maybe, you lost 10 pounds and now, but really your goal was 50. Okay, so you're looking better, you're feeling better, but you know what? We're going to push ourselves a little more. It doesn't stop there just because you're doing better. We continue on until we reach our goal. And that's why we need that why. We have to remember what our big motivation is. Not, our motivation wasn't to lose 10 pounds. It was to be able to play with our grandkids. So, that it's very important to keep that in mind, because as you get closer to your goal and your pain point gets less, it's easier to say, oh, I'm doing pretty well, I don't have to be so strict. So we got to keep our eye on the prize, the far prize. Just because we're meeting our shorter term goals doesn't mean we stop. Okay, just quickly, this is a little exercise that you can do if you are on your way and working toward it, but you get faced with you want to fall back into an old habit. You're faced with a challenge. So you're on your weight loss plan and then someone brings in the donuts, okay? And your fallback, your old habit is to just unthinkingly go for it, okay? What we want to do is teach you to stop, challenge, and choose, okay? Stop is physically stop, like take a deep breath, take a drink. We want to move it from unthinking, just falling into patterns, to actually giving ourselves a moment to logically put it through a thought process and try to recreate, and then logically choose something else and thereby create a new habit. So we're going to stop, take a deep breath, center yourself, okay? And because we're suddenly faced with stress, so we want to eat, or a donut, or whatever's, facing us, okay? We want to challenge ourselves. Why do I want this? Why am I feeling like this? Is there something else that can meet this need? Is this going to help me reach my goal? So we want to sort of take it out of the just reaction of I always do this, to thinking about it a little bit, and then make a choice, okay? Make a choice. Think of what your options are and then make a choice. After you do that, hopefully you'll be making a better choice. But even if in the end you don't, at least it became a thought out decision of, you know what? I stopped, I thought about it, I challenged myself, and I'm still thinking, you know what? It's a birthday, and I really do feel like I'm going to, and I understand the concept, and I'm just gonna this time have this. That's fine, because we're not perfect and we don't expect everyone to be perfect, but we don't want it to be mindless. We want to be mindful of what we're doing, what our choices are, what other choices we could make, and then what to do to get back on track. So just very quickly, you can take a little look at this, but it's just an example of, let's say it's a food choice that you're faced with and you want to stop, challenge, and choose. So you want to stop, take a deep breath, and then ask yourself these. Why do I want it? Am I hungry? Maybe something, if I'm hungry, maybe something healthy would do. Am I thirsty? Because a lot of times we want to eat something out of dehydration. We feel, we think we're hungry, but we're thirsty. Am I eating it because I'm feeling emotional? Is this emotional eating and I don't really need it? You say, am I blasted? So blasted stands for bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired, excited, or depressed. Those are all reasons that people fall into eating other than hunger, okay? And will eating this fix the problem? If I'm upset at work, so if I eat this, now I'll be feeling gross, bloated, and upset at work. So this isn't going to fix my problem, right? It's not going to comfort me. What would fix my problem? Or what would really long-term make me feel better?
Right. Okay. Adina, we just have about 2 minutes left, so.
Okay. So I'm just going to think up. So take a look at these. And once you look at these and you challenge yourself, then you want to make a choice. And with your choice, you definitely want to think that don't give up what you want most for what you want in the moment. So there are things we want now. There are things we want most, like health. We don't want to give up our health, what we want most for what we want now. And then, so if anyone is looking for a plan or looking to discuss further or learn further and want to take a free health assessment, you can email at healthybodyhealthyhabits@gmail.com. You'll get both Shari and myself, or you can contact either of us, and we'd be love to help you. And we're gonna get cut off any minute now, so I
Any
just want to.
questions? You could unmute yourselves. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them, and we will be cut off in just about a minute. Otherwise,
Those are good reminders. I've been at this for a while as a coach too, so thank you.
right. How much have you lost again, Cindy? Remind us.
Well, I had lost like 25, 30 pounds.
Fantastic. And your hubby also lost a lot.
He lost 40 pounds. So.
Woohoo.